Hey, my fellow multidimensionals. It is Asia Andromeda, founder of multidimensionalu.com. And I am going to be kicking back up my daily meds videos here on my YouTube channel because we are in the time for which we as starseeds incarnated. And I went through a period at the end of last year where I call it my cave, like the shaman's cave. I had to go back in and I went through some really big adjustments at the individual level, at the level of my business, our family, everything shifted. Feel the wind coming. In order to get us into our next most aligned position to be of service at this time. So there's actually quite a bit that I can tell I'm going to talk about today, and I really want to show up in service to all of the planet's starseeds and wayshowers, whether you've been awake your whole life or you just woke up last week. This is really a big piece of my work on the planet, so I'm really glad to be able to do this for all of you. So I will be filming from, these beautiful woods, about 20 acres to which we moved, and giving you all a beautiful antidote from nature, right? The intact integrity of nature and the forest and all of our incredible multidimensional aspects and friends as a counterpoint to a lot of the panic, fear, and hysteria that's sweeping the planet. And I look back 10 years ago when I went through my awakening, and I actually contracted H1N1, the swine flu. I was in the hospital for 3 days. I was hospitalized 2 other times outside of that in about not even a 2-year period. My father passed away, and then my whole business at that time went down. I used to be something called the Web Fairy Godmother. And at the time it was brutal, and it was confusing, and it was disorienting, and I was angry. And I also got to the point literally of on my knees surrender when I felt like I had nothing left to give, because what was happening is my higher self was breaking down my ego false construct. So I know many of you have been through some iteration of this and you get it. And so now, we went through our time at the personal individual level in order to really be able to stabilize the field now and hold it a little bit steadier. I've been channeling for years that this is a huge piece of our role, is to help stabilize the chaos that would come, and we are now in it. And do not expect it to subside and kind of go back to normal. That will not be happening. So it's really good to, I joke all the time with my, clients and friends, learn to ride those waves, right? And so I am in a place in the forest where you'll see behind me, maybe you can see a little bit better if I do this. 3 weeks ago now, I can't even keep track of time. Everything's moving so quickly. Anyway, when my daughter was 13 and a half, the day before her 13 and a half birthday, her guides came in and told us that she is now in shaman school and that they will be taking over her education. Actually, her remembering, really. And so we made a huge shift, and we began coming out into the forest and working. She has a very powerful Lyran teacher. That's her main teacher. And he brings in other guides who then help her go through different shamanic journeys. Even just kind of, she's been given some of her first healing assignments. And she was told to, come find a place in the forest, like that was her tree. And I as her mother, right, her own shaman mother, was not allowed to do that for her, right? That's hers to do. And so not surprisingly, she chose kind of in this general area here, and it was right next to a juniper tree, which, I was wondering about the properties of juniper. I figured it was like sage, and I realized rather than go Google it, we don't need to Google things anymore. We can speak directly to the plants, right? That is the ultimate internet. The World Wide Web is the unified field, and if we kick back up our own divine infrastructure, right, multidimensional infrastructure, we have that capability. And so what the tree told me is that it changes the chemical properties of the air around it. And so I just want to share that with you because it's really inspiring to me to watch my daughter peel out of, what was even considered more of an alternative education setting, but just peel out of the cerebral education and go into a much more holistic experience in which she is driving, with her guides, her spirit guides, driving her own journeys. We drum. She's working specifically with the elements of earth and fire. She is a very powerful Syrian starseed. That's where a lot of her lifetimes are spent as a cetacean. So she's here to do a lot of emotional healing. This is her life purpose. And I'm sharing all of this with you because the StarSeed Children's Collective is telling me right now that they really need a lot of their parents to wake up and give them the freedom to do school and education very differently, because they're coming with their own incredible information. They are still children, right? They need parents to help them, but not to tell them what to think and do, right? So not surprisingly, this shaman school is another example of how we're completely inverting the distortional matrix of top-down hierarchy and the systems that have been here. So I hope you all find that really inspiring. We're learning as we go. I will say that as her parent, and I am kind of a natural teacher, my inclination to want to impart has to move way now and allow much more of a channeled experience to come forward. I am not in the driver's seat. So I see all my years of work of channeling and working with clients and helping them has really prepared me for this time with my own daughter to help support her, and bring through her guides until the time in which she is able to really just run all of that information herself, which they're telling me is coming very soon. So I hope that gives you all some inspiration to, follow your own directives, and they will come faster than you think now. I was having many conversations about this, that the timeline is just speeded up. We're making changes so much more quickly. So a lot of our work right now as Wayshowers is to be sure to not cling to the old out of, maybe just because we're used to that, or we're afraid if we do it a different way, maybe we won't know what we're doing, we won't have financial support, all of that. You got to be willing to let all of that go. And I'm sure many of you like me can see all of the tests of initiation that we've been through over the last 10, 15 years have really prepared us for this time to do our way showing work. And a word about the way showing work. You hear me often say, we're not here to save anyone. We're not saviors. We're simply here to hold a higher energetic frequency that is it's a harmonic. It's a vibronic harmonic that is coherent, right? This is why I've been, if you followed my daily meds last year, there was always come out in the woods with me, because this environment is so much more stable, grounded, coherent, and healthy. And you can easily put yourself back into coherent state when you're in an environment like this. And so that is our number one priority as Wayshowers right now, is to maintain a very grounded, expansive field. And we're not going to take away anyone's journey. They have to, look, we all went through our paces, right? We had to go through the experience of deconstruction. There's really no way around that. What we can do is help reframe for people, whether it's, maybe you have a channel like I do, or you're just talking to someone at the bus stop, or maybe not right now with the coronavirus running around, but this state with the coronavirus is beautiful because it's bringing everyone into a unified experience, something that is so rare on this planet. So yeah, I just wanted to get on here and really, just start to show back up for you all, especially I've gone through most of this the big realignment and restructuring, myself, beginning Lionsgate last year, right at the end of July, just whew. And then it seems like it really settled down a couple of weeks ago. Once we got moved to this new location and we shifted into shaman school, and I've shifted my business model. You'll hear me talk about some stuff coming up around Earth Day. It's all making sense now very quickly. I was also really impelled to launch the radio show. It's a TV/radio show. It's a podcast as well called Beyond Conscious, Becoming Multidimensional, to really help all of you claim kind of this next level of embodiment. So it is now officially, it's not just on my YouTube channel or on my Facebook page, it's also officially now on Spotify and on iTunes. You just search Beyond Conscious, Becoming Multidimensional, and you'll find it. And I'll be doing that at least twice a month, maybe more, as needed. So again, we're not here to save anyone or rescue anyone or prevent their deconstruction. They have to go through that. But it's more like trusted friends and guides who are a little further on the journey, just to say, hey, I hear you, I get you, I know what you're going through, you're not crazy, you can do this, breathe. Let me introduce you to your chakras and how to clear those fields out so that you're not being run by implants and negative programs. There's a lot of that going on. And you set some new boundaries for yourself and you live a much more free and sovereign life. And so I am a bit in awe at where we're at the planetary level, because again, I've been channeling this for years and I've been shown this for years that we would be going into some very bumpy territory. And so it's really pretty amazing to find ourselves here. We called our local grocery store just to see what's going on. And sure enough, goes a raven. The gentleman said that there's an historical 40-year run on the store. So we might venture out for a little field trip later just to experience that. But then also put some pillars of light around town. If you don't know how to do a pillar of light, I'll link in this video to how to do that. I made an instructional video. And what was revealed, I think was at the winter solstice event, was that it's your own soul essence, your own body of consciousness, this beautiful plasmic field that you are, that is creating that pillar of light. So I'm really excited to kick up all of this work. I mean, right, I've been there like all of you for years, feeling kind of like, I don't know, I feel like I'm in the fringe corner and the outer margins, and it's let me tune in here for a second. Yeah, Ascension is well underway, and the process of unfoldment for many people begins with casting off the outer shell, which binds them in a contractive slave mentality state. The slave mentality is not to say that anyone is enslaving you. You all have free will, and at some level this has been voluntary. The enslavement contracted state is much more about the sense that you do not have options. These options are blind. You are blinded to these options when you are in this contracted state, even though they are all around you. And this is what humanity is beginning to break free from now. And these events are catalysts to help spark a reconnection with the emotional body for many humans that have been operating exclusively from their mental bodies. That information is brought to you by my Arcturian aspect, the Lotus Keeper, and really a collective, right? Because the Arcturians are living as a collective, and that's where we're headed. So what's so exciting to me is we don't need smartphones, and we don't need Google, and we don't need any of this, because we're coming back online and we can all tune in. I can't tell you how many of you write in, especially lately. I think my field must be really busy right now, showing up for so many of you in your dreams, in your meditations, and that is why I'm here, and that is why so many of you are here as StarSeed Wayshowers. This is who I'm here to serve, and ultimately all of humanity, right? To wake up and remember their own multidimensional nature. So with that, you can find all these different links below. I would definitely recommend the daily grounding and clearing meditation to, if you're finding that you're falling into some more anxiety, or you're going through a really rough part of your awakening journey and all sorts of things are happening at once, which is kind of how this works, and you're having a hard time just even breathing, frankly, just know that you're going to be okay. And that surrender, like even in the physical body, like laying down on the earth, or if it's, not feasible where you are, at least on the ground in your home, and allowing Gaia, Earth, to support you, You will get through this. And then just continuing to clear out your field, especially if you're spending time around anybody who is super fearful right now. And then the spring equinox, my Sasquatch friends showed up last night. It's going to be a big body of work that we're about to do on March 19th, 1 p.m. Mountain Time. And we'll be gathering, a few hundred of us will be gathering to go into a combined sub-collective field. We'll put our fields together and we will do some sort of epic, beautiful, powerful work for the planet at this time. So if, I realize a lot of people are starting to stay home. We have decided to do that, minus a few trips to the store here or there. And you really are looking to engage and serve. Number one, take care of yourself. Get yourself into the coherent state. And number two, you can join in this group meditation coming up, and I'm sure many other people are holding something very similar. The power of the combined collective field is something to behold. So I cannot wait to see what goes down. And I will just kind of, end on just, there really is a sense of gravitas now. A lot of this in the past has felt like sort of, almost like optional. Right? I can kind of do this or not, even though it's not really. Like, my guides are like, yeah, you're not here to have a job. Like, you need to be, or you're not here to just hang out in 3D, right? But I will just reflect in this moment that there is no going back for the human collective. We really have moved into the next room. And so I wish you all well as you step even more powerfully and confidently into your soul purpose work and really showing up in service to yourself and the planet. And the human collective. All right, well, I'll be on here much more frequently. I'll pop in. This was kind of a long video, but I'll be popping in more regularly just to support you all and share my energetic with you all, because I am built like a Stargate. So I will do what I came to do and hold you all and support you in all of your missions. Thank you so much for the thousands of you. I know there are millions of StarSeeds on the planet and doing all the different work at the different levels that you're doing. So thank you so much for being in the trenches and for being on the planet. It's a very amazing time to be alive in human form. All right, love you all.